Welcome back to This American Ride podcast, where we talk about issues that affect you, the average American. This is some stuff that really kind of surprised me. The first social media site, I didn't even know the name of it.
I never heard of it.
I don't remember it. 1997, 6degrees.com. First social media site. It was invite only, and it allowed people to maintain a profile and keep a list of connections. And it had 3 million users before it was bought out. We couldn't find out who it was bought out for. I looked, but it was bought for $125 million.
Yeah, I saw that.
So just,
My first recollection of social media was MySpace.
So you were MySpace 03, huh? I thought MySpace was earlier, and we talked about this. My timeline got all kinds of messed up.
Yeah, definitely not. It was definitely like 03 because I was married, and her and I discovered it, and we both had our little MySpace things. My page had Steelers stuff all over it. It was cool because you could like design your profile page with things, and that was so like exciting and new. And
I feel like I don't remember ever having a MySpace.
you probably didn't.
I honestly,
It was like a flash in the pan kind of thing because it got really big, but for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
And then like it was moving on to Facebook did more, and you could do more with it.
04, man, Facebook came out, and then like between 03 and 05, a lot of stuff sprinkled in.
Yeah, you had a few things there.
And LinkedIn, YouTube, WordPress, which is basically a website kind of design platform, I think, is WordPress.
I've seen the name, but I've never seen it.
And then 06, Twitter. It took Twitter a while to grab on, but those, I feel like those were the big ones. And even then, I feel like LinkedIn, it took LinkedIn a while. Like I feel like LinkedIn is still yet to hit its stride. But yeah, I don't use Twitter a lot. I use Instagram. I used to use Facebook until like the 2016, 2020 elections. And now I really don't use Facebook a lot.
Twitter's tough because it's so, you'll never be big if you're not some sort of celebrity status or someone who's known,
Yeah, and
if you can't just be an average schmuck that just is an average human person that isn't known, I'm not just celebrity status, but like a public figure kind of status. You're never gonna do anything other than read other people's stuff because your stuff is never really gonna get seen.
And I feel like you could have a tweet blow up, but that doesn't.
You could have a tweet blow up, but it's not gonna blow you up.
Doesn't mean a lot of people. Right, exactly. It doesn't mean a lot of people are gonna follow you.
Right.
Yeah.
You could definitely have a tweet or something go viral, but it doesn't mean that you're ever going to have 500,000 people following you on Twitter just because of that.
You've been active on Twitter. Have you had anything go viral?
No. And I just go on there. Go on there to argue with people about politics, but because I had to get off of Facebook for that. I used to do the Facebook thing and argue with people, and it just. The wife yelled at me because it's like people we know and stuff. So I'm like, all right, I'll go on Twitter where no one knows me and I'll just argue with people there.
Yeah.
But no, I'll post stuff on there on our Baggers and Brews just because, because why not? It takes a few seconds and, use everything you can when you're trying to have like a business thing or whatever. But yeah, Twitter's not anything in our wheelhouse for Baggers and Brews or for this, it's just... If you're not a celebrity, people aren't going to see your stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of. It's very true. Unless you have a bunch of people following you, it's just you're going to get buried. You're just going to get.
At least on Instagram, you can grow on there gradually. Over time, more people follow, and at least when you post something, all those people that are following you have the opportunity to see it. But on YouTube, it's just like I could post something on there and get like one person actually even sees it.
Yeah, it's so tough. But that was I feel like social media now went from. We're just you're talking a little over 20 years from something that from something that did not exist to something that people use as an everyday part of their lives, or even to the point where a lot of people use it to make a living.
People use it definitely, and we touched on that, but there's a lot of different ways that it's used to make a living, but also just like using it in like day to day, like for your own use for day to day, other than just strolling for entertainment purposes. You find a lot of things on there. Like you find things happening locally that you might want to go do. You see, there's pages, if you're tuned into the right stuff, you see events and things happenings in your area, festivals and things like that. That's where everybody advertises now, right? If you have a business and you're not on social media, like you're behind. Whatever the business is, a pizza place, anything, like you should have that, because that's where everybody sees that stuff. That's where we see restaurants that we end up going to try. Breweries, I've found a million breweries that are on my list to go see because I've seen them on Instagram or Facebook. All those things, like I've literally day-to-day stuff, I use it for other than just entertaining myself, like scrolling. Like I actually find things to buy. Like you see different things that you end up wanting to buy.
It's integrated into your life.
Yeah,
But here's the flip side. I mean, how did people used to get that information? And the newspaper,
telephone book, newspaper,
local
catalogs,
local newspapers. I feel like, we still have the Pinelands Tribune here that comes out that has some local stories in it. When we lived, when I was in Browns Mills in Pemberton Township, we used to have the Community News, and that was your local paper that I think was free, that you could pick up at the Wawa or the Cumberland Farms or whatever we had back then locally. And that's how people got their local happenings, whether it was a fall festival or whether it was, a coupon for the local pizza joint or what have you. All of that was there.
But I think that's why I would say this current system of social media is more beneficial to businesses, because what did you have to do?
You had to physically pick that up and go look at it.
But as the business, you had to pay to advertise in there.
You did have to pay to advertise.
So, all these things that we see that we decide we want to go do because we saw it on Instagram or whatever.
Yep.
Like you wouldn't have saw that because most, your local places weren't spending the money to advertise in there. So they got their advertising through like just local word of mouth.
Yep.
For a restaurant or a pizza place or whatever. I keep saying pizza place. I guess I want pizza, but they weren't all in there because people weren't spending the money to get your ad in the paper.
Yeah.
Whereas now you don't have to. You go on Instagram and you create your profile, your page for your business, and now you just pump out all the advertising content you want on there.
Yep.
And you just gradually grow by sharing things and putting stuff out. And the more you put stuff out, the bigger you grow and the more people follow you and the more people see it and the more your business takes off.
Exactly.
So it's definitely beneficial for businesses, I believe, over old school newspaper.
Yeah, I think it is. And I mean, the flip side is on the internet, and not to go like too much into the weeds in this, businesses can pay to advertise on the internet and they will be pushed up in searches or they'll be pushed out to markets of their choosing, depending upon the platform they're on, their advertising. So you can pay to get better or more prominent exposure.
You can boost your posts or
boost this ad.
Your ad or whatever, which I mean, if you have a legitimate business,
yep,
and you're just considering that as part of your fund for marketing, I mean, it's cheaper than hiring a marketing firm to do your marketing, right? I think
it definitely is.
You just spend a few dollars to boost some posts, and you're going to probably be ahead of where you would be if you did nothing and save more money than if you had an actual, hired a marketing firm to handle it for you. So it's got its benefits for sure.
Yeah.
And it's definitely changed the way people advertise in this modern day.
100% it has changed. I mean, before you get like one picture of a business and like that was what you got, and it was probably like their marquee like logo or something like that or what have you. But now you can go on, you can look at the food, you can like have pictures of the restaurant, you can do so much stuff now. It's crazy.
I think it's a positive change.
Yeah, I don't knock it. It's just a big change in life. I mean, we used to have phone books. We don't have phone books anymore. I used to remember everybody's phone number when I was a kid because you had to actually dial those phone numbers. And now I don't know I don't know your phone number.
I know my wife's phone number.
I know my wife's phone number.
And I think that's it. I have 2 children. I don't have their phone numbers memorized.
No, why? Because you just type on a name and bloop, 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 it dials.
It's wild.
That was my dialing sound.
To think about that though, like when we were in high school, like I mean, not so much me. I had a couple people, but I know like Carolyn had all these numbers, like all these people memorized, and I know them. I didn't know anybody. I knew like 2 or 3 friends.
That was it.
That I called regularly, and everybody else was like, I don't know the number. I'd have to write it down somewhere.
Definitely something that's gone with age is like that, like memory bank.
Yeah, but see, that's the bad thing, right? We don't have to remember as much stuff. So like our brains aren't as like
I feel that I feel like
good.
It's not a good thing.
No,
man. I feel like
we don't have to memorize anything because it's all like right in the little thing in our hand. Like everything's there, and you don't remember anything. So that can't be good. You know, now they have all these play these games to help improve brain health and all this stuff, right? Because they realize everybody's become a friggin' vegetable with everybody's become so automated, written down for them and automated, and you don't have to memorize anything. So now they're like, oh well, now we need things to keep people's brains healthy because you're getting early onset dementia because you're not using your brain for anything.
You're not wrong.
It's crazy. No, it's a vicious cycle, man. There's always negatives to technological advancements.
I mean, there's always positives, but you're right.
Of course, yeah. I mean, there's definitely positives, but
always
there's
negatives.
Unintended consequences from everything that we invent.
True story.